Hello everyone, welcome to a new video series. I'm looking to get this YouTube channel off the ground a bit and replacing the old Twitter lives that I did. Just haven't had the time really to plan out live videos when I'm sure I can commit the time to it without interruptions and all of that now that everybody's back to work. I haven't quite settled on a name for the series, but it'll be just regular 5 to 10 minute video series done a few times a week or weekly if things are quiet and there's not much in the news. And all I'm trying to do with this series is to cover what news we may have and updates, cover what's actually in the news, and tell you what's true, what isn't, what you should listen to, and things that could pay attention in somewhat of a quick and factual format without all the other stuff. So again, these will be real quick 5-minute videos that you can just watch to get kind of a daily or weekly update on exactly what's happening and what to pay attention to, at least from our side and my information. So let's get into it. First, we're going to start with the manager. This is obviously the hot topic right now and one of the things under most discussion on Twitter and everywhere. Who's going to be the next manager? Now, recent reports have been talking about Carlo Ancelotti, which is an interesting one to kind of come up out of the blue, currently managing Madrid. They're winning the league. And realistically, it's just somebody that Sir Alex Ferguson likes, according to the reports. The only way there'd be any reality into this is if he were to be sacked by Madrid, Pochettino to replace him, reject us, and we were not able to get any of our other targets. I'm certain that Ten Hag as well would be well over Ancelotti for the job. So not one I think too much about. It's a bit of a strange link, but I suppose it's one that, you know, maybe he's just getting thrown into the mix as a name that has been discussed at one point in time. So not much to think about there. I also have not heard under any circumstances that they expect him to be sacked at this point in time. Ten Hag. So what's the situation with Ten Hag? Because there's a lot of conflicting information out there, and obviously my own tends to be more in favor of Pochettino. But presenting this without any sort of bias, there's a couple of reports. One from Rob Dawson at ESPN talking about how on Ten Hag's side there's some concerns about the structure and setup at United, whether it suits him or whether it doesn't compared to the structure and setup he's had at Ajax. And this is a concern that I've heard is true from both sides and is there. Now, does that mean he doesn't want the job? No, it doesn't. You had another report come out from a London-based journalist who's a very good journalist who said basically that he's taking English classes. His English is very good, but touching up on his English classes in preparation for discussions about the United job. Now, that's probably true as well. But do bear in mind that you just have to compare where the information is coming from and what's happening. And at the moment, the more important aspect of this whole thing is that Ten Hag and United have not spoken. We've not talked to him. We've not asked Ajax for permission. And that's in both articles, and the one that talks about him wanting the job. Until that happens, not much can change, and he cannot be considered, by my estimate, a serious candidate until we speak to him. It's like any player, any transfer, any signing. Until we talk to them and find out if they're interested, what their demands would be, what they would want, then it's hard for us to say that United will be signing him. With a player, generally, after we've identified them as a target, scouted, looked at them and said, hey, they're interesting, generally the first thing in getting it going is to talk to the representatives, find out if they're interested, and then see if we can speak to the player, get all the details and all the demands. So the same thing for the manager, and we've not requested any sort of permission to speak with him as of yet. He does have admirers, and Ralf Rangnick is a big fan, so we can't rule him out regardless. In the meantime, Pochettino still loves the idea of United. There have been discussions dating back even November and in earlier seasons as well. He is the leading candidate, and we'll see what happens there. In general, there should be meetings after this Champions League round with different managerial candidates, but I wouldn't expect anything to really be in the news, big, formalized, until after PSG, United, and I would say Ajax are out of the Champions League before anything can actually be decided and presented in somewhat of a definitive manner. So moving on to transfers then. Midfielder and striker are the priorities. We know that. That's been reported a lot. The names there haven't changed much in terms of the midfield. I'm not going to run through every piece of information that's out there, just the more recent things that have been stated. One, on Tchouaméni and Rice, with the situation happening over at Chelsea, with Roman Abramovich having to sell the club and everything going on with Russia, there's going to be some instability. And I think this opens the door on both players, where Chelsea may have been in the lead and really looking at Tchouaméni and head of the table to get him. He may now be more available and more attainable, and that will provide us with an alternate to Declan Rice, who is of interest to Chelsea, but from what I've heard, not that significantly. The bigger interest comes from Manchester City. Either way, it should be easier to obtain one of them with the situation at Chelsea. Another name that's come up is Palhinha in Portugal. We've scouted a lot of players in Portugal. I wouldn't think too much about this one. I believe he just changed his agent. Mendes is the one doing his deals now, so we're going to get linked, but I don't know that there's too much truth in it as of now. Osimhen from Napoli. There's a report out there that we're going to make a massive offer. The problem is that we've had those reports before from Napoli about Koulibaly years ago. They tend to ask for an extremely high price. He's a great player, someone I'm sure United have scouted, have looked at, but 100 million plus for the player is not likely something we're going to offer, in addition to needing to rebuild the midfield, and that there are probably other better value targets available. But I expect the price to be extremely high from Napoli's perspective. So right now I would say keep an eye on it, but unless something changes, I don't see us spending that kind of money on him. Darwin Nunez is one I've talked about a lot. I really like him. He's 22, he's young, plays for Benfica. He's got 20 goals in 20 games this year. And I have some information on that I've stated, which is that his agent, who also represents Pellistri, is going to be meeting with clubs around Europe over the next couple of weeks. He may be in Europe now already from Uruguay. And we like him, and what I've been told recently is we actually sent a very high-level scout to watch him on multiple occasions. And so we'll see what happens, but I expect over the next couple of weeks I will find out if we are formalizing our interest for the summer on him and he becomes a realistic candidate. The price would be around 60 million euros or so, and I think that's something that's realistic this summer at the striker position. Harry Kane is another to keep an eye on. Obviously, he's always in the news, but depending on what happens with Conte, depending on what happens with Pochettino, and depending on what happens with Champions League qualification, that's one to watch. I think we need Champions League to bring someone like him in. And obviously, if Conte leaves and Pochettino comes in and you get Champions League, all of those things would increase the possibility or probability of bringing in Harry Kane this summer. Lewandowski, another one. I know that's a crazy name, but I mentioned it a while ago. If he's not re-signing with Bayern, if they don't offer a new deal, he likely will leave this summer, and I've heard he's interested in going to England. So we'll see. But again, we'd also have to have Champions League and be kind of competitive and a lot of things. So a very low chance of that, but you can't rule it out. One of the other players that was in the news and the forward position was Anthony from Ajax. And that's a real link, someone we're interested in and watching. Depending on the striker we get, if we can get one like Nunez for 60 and a midfielder maybe like Tchouaméni for 60, then it opens up spending a little bit more on a forward or a wing. So I would keep an eye on that. If Ten Hag comes in as manager, then I would definitely keep an eye on that. Might be something he asks for. I hear he rates him very highly. Other than that, the priority and what's been in the news has been the center back situation. And my understanding is it would only occur if we were to move Bailly, where he's likely to go to Italy. The names mentioned, number one, Akanji from Dortmund, not nearly as advanced as it's being reported. We've looked at him, weighed up the options. Ralph likes him. That's it. There's nothing. There's no contract offer. There's none of that. It's simply, what would you want and are you available? And that's it. And that's how it is with a lot of the center back options right now as the list is being built out. Araujo from Barcelona is another one. There's a lot of reports on him again. I don't think we've made a substantial contract offer, but I think we have let him know what we might be willing to, and it's potentially higher than what Barcelona are able to pay right now. The only other piece of news is on Dean Henderson that's out there. It is likely he would go on loan. I heard some months ago that it would be likely for him to go on loan in summer and come back. Rangnick likes him and thinks he could be the future keeper of the club, but De Gea's form is so good right now as a keeper. They're not looking to make a change at the moment, and so I would expect going on loan for a year and coming back, if he's open to it, to become the first keeper after that. So that's all I've got for news for today. I think that's everything. I'll try to do another video in a couple of days if anything else comes up. So make sure to like, subscribe, turn your notifications on. I'm not going to be doing a ton of these videos, so it will not be blowing up your notifications or any of that. Leave a comment below with any questions you might have that you want me to answer in the next video, and I'll see you later. Thank you.